Hey you guys, it's Chelsea here. We are here for our fourth episode of Girl Talk Giving Yourself Permission. We've been trying to go live on Leah's Facebook page and we've had some challenges. So this is actually our fourth take, I think. So I'm just trying to bring Leah on again. Hope and smoothly without any issues. Okay, I think we did it.
Okay, we're here. Yay.
And then we also, Leah, are you able to share this so that this goes to your page
Yeah,
as well?
I'm gonna do that now. So did you share it from the actual live?
Yeah, there was a button, but you know, it's funny because now I don't see the button. Oh, actually, no, there is. Oh no, that's invite
Okay.
to watch.
Let me share it.
I don't know if you can do it on the page, but yeah, I don't know. We've been having.
Oh, there you go.
Are you
Okay.
able to share it?
Perfect.
Because I know there's some people that have been waiting to see what we have to say about this topic.
I know, right? I'm actually going to tag them.
Oh, good
I'm going
idea.
to tag them in the video. So there's, okay.
Perfect. And then for who's watching, if you can let us know, if you can hear us clearly, if the sound is coming through clearly. We've just been having some technical difficulties so far today, but we're just about to get started. Today we are going to be talking about giving yourself permission to feel sexy. And this is especially for mamas and entrepreneurs, women that are entrepreneurs.
You know what, Chelsea? Sorry to cut you off, but I'm just thinking also that it's not only about, like women feeling sexy, but just like, also men stepping up into like who they are, feeling personally empowered, especially entrepreneurs who are busy, hiding behind their like littleness and who they are. So yeah, absolutely. Like, because there are some men watching as well. But at the same time, like this particular topic is about women and how, we're teaching you to step into your feminine essence. So yeah, I just think it would be a good. Yeah.
We're going to be sharing our own stories. And yeah, hopefully it will be, applicable in some shape or form to the guys as well. But, if you want to chime in and tell us, some of your ways that you feel sexy as well, we would love to hear it. But you're right. It's important for men and women to both feel this. So.
All right. I'm just going to share one last time here.
Okay.
All right. So can you see, is anybody watching, Anna, maybe Irma, anybody that was on the last live? Because this is, technically take 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we had to come from my page this time, so it's a little bit, a bit different. So are the same people that we're watching, or I can see that there's 3 people on, but I can't see who.
Oh, there she is. Okay, fantastic. Yeah. Thank you, Anna.
Oh, Anna. Okay,
for confirming that.
Yeah, because we have a couple viewers, but for some reason it's not telling me.
Yeah.
Secret.
So like I was saying, and I was saying on the last video, is that we are in the presence of beautiful full moon energy, mama goddess. And so a lot of times what will happen is that we'll have tech issues during these times, like things just go a little bit off. So thank you everybody for your patience and wanting to listen to our episode, our 4th episode of Girl Talk today.
Yeah. Hey everybody. Hey Jolie. Yeah, so we are ready to get started. It sounds like our sound is good and we'll be able to dive in and share. We just wanted to start by, for those of you who weren't watching the first time, talk a little bit about the background about, why we wanted to talk about this particular topic, why it's very, very relevant, and why we wanted to share just about our own journeys and what we've kind of explored and experienced. And, I think we each have kind of one sort of significant story or one turning point or moment in our lives, where this was something that was important. Of course, we're both moms, and as moms, you kind of go through a stage where you sort of lose yourself a little bit. It's sort of a natural, I think, rite of passage of becoming a mom, but then there has to be a moment where you come back to yourself, and usually that ends up being even more empowering, and you're learning so much through the process as well. But I know for me, there was a long period of time where I did not feel sexy. I felt kind of blah and drab and, didn't really feel like I had the time. And I think now realizing, looking back, it was maybe a bit more of an excuse, but, not really putting that time and effort into myself because, I wanted to give all of that time and energy to my baby. But one thing that I think is so important to realize when you're supporting other people, other lives, is, it's that whole thing that we always hear about the oxygen mask, really giving back to yourself first. So anyways, we just decided that this was a really relevant and important topic through our own personal journeys as entrepreneurs, as moms, as women. And yeah, so we wanted to share. So Leah, did you want to go ahead and share your story, and I will share mine after?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Yeah, let's share our stories and then we could like tell people. I mean, if you guys have any questions on, what kind of tips we could give you on, stepping further and further into your feminine essence and feeling sexy again as a mom, as a woman, because either you've like lost that sense, or you might want to just rediscover something totally new within yourself, then, just let us know. But yeah, I'd love to give some tips after because we both have really fun stories that we're going to share. And then we have lots of tips. So
before you start, Leah, I just want to mention Anna just posted a comment about
yes.
how this is also applies to stepmoms, which thank you for saying that.
Yes.
I think that's an important thing because, well, stepmoms and stepdads, I mean, me having been in that role, I know, and I'm assuming, Anna, that you may be a stepmom as well, but, that comes along with an entirely different set of challenges and a learning curve and, important in terms of all of the interconnected relationships in the family. So I really love that you brought that up. The stepmom or stepdad role, I think, is hugely important. So I think thank you for saying that. Sorry for cutting you off, Leah.
Oh yeah, no, not at all. I know that. So Anna does, she's a co-parenting coach and she's written several books, Co-Parenting and Harmony, which I was very, very lucky to contribute to. And
wow.
I have to say that Anna is super sexy. Okay. That's all I have to say. She even as a stepmom, as an entrepreneur, you embody sexiness. So I think you're good on that one, but we always have further to go. And that's what Chelsea and I were talking about. Chelsea and I were talking about that at the very beginning. So right before we go on, we have this conversation, what should we discuss and so on. And we were talking about how, there's always more, as human beings, we always want more. So how can we feed into and feel into more of our own femininity? So yeah, absolutely. There's always it's limitless, really. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. I don't know if Preston is watching, but I'm sure he'll appreciate this story. So this is quite funny. I remember, so as a mom of two kids, and as a former stepmom, or, you're always a stepmom. Once you're a stepmom, you're always a stepmom. But so I had 4 children for a really long time, and I just identified myself as mom wearing, mom clothes and mom hair, mom buns and stuff like that. And then, so as I was growing into entrepreneurship and doing more personal development work on myself, I realized that, I needed to just be more of myself and be more of my authentic self, which meant not always being mom and just being, who am I as a woman in my adult life now? Because I was very certain of who I was as a teenager and in my 20s, early 20s, but I kind of lost myself during my adulthood as a mom because I became a stepmom at 24 years old. So when I separated from my partner of many, many years, I was trying to figure out, what is this sexual empowerment now, in my late 30s. And it was really, yeah, it was really, really interesting because I remember I was at the beach and I was thinking, well, it was in Florida, and I was thinking, gosh, all these people, like, they wear basically nothing, and I'm from Canada, and we wear, hot, warm clothes kind of thing, and we don't really expose ourselves. So I would see people like wearing thongs and stuff like that, and um, I remember going to purchase a bikini that wasn't exactly a thong, but I remember putting it on. I bought this like awesome color. It was this like hot pink salmon color. And it was like a peekaboo bikini. And it was just like so cool when I put it on. That was like the moment where I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, I still got it together. And I am me. Like, this is who I am. I can show up as myself. Like Anna just said, yeah, don't label yourself. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, being like, I am this role, I am that role, when in essence, you are who you are, just as you are, as your authentic self. And so discovering who that Leah was it took a long time. But, and it's still, every day there's something new that I discover about myself, as I step into my femininity, as I step into my power, as all the different roles that I play, right? But that bikini was the beginning of, you know what, I don't have to hide anymore, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to share that story with you because, whether that's you start like beach body, or you're like, okay, now I'm going to start working out, or now I'm going to go to the beach and I need to feel good about myself. It doesn't really matter. It's like in that moment, you're like, you know what? I can be whoever I want to be, and I'm going to be all of me. And I think that in that moment, I was like, this is who I am, and I'm going to fully embrace this. And that led to so many other things. So, like in my life, like in my business, in my relationships, it was, yeah, exactly, like more expressing myself through more self-love and care, in who, discovering who I really, really was.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's so true. When we get stressed and we feel like we're not fully being ourselves, and there's certain parts of us that we can just kind of shut down or shut
Yeah.
off. And I think that that's a big part of this journey, is not necessarily anything that needs to change. It's just this aspect of really letting go, for one thing, of a lot of, maybe I should be this way or I should be that way, letting go of all of these things. I just wanted to say hi to a couple of people that have come on. Hi, Shireen. Hi, Tamara and Cindy.
Hey.
So this whole journey of, it's really discovering more and more of who you are, and just going deeper, and really also learning to get so clear on what your needs are in the moment. I mean, sometimes we can just be
Mm-hmm.
so busy, and so there's so many distractions, and we forget to actually go within and really get clear and listen to what it is that we're needing at the time. And so, yeah, I loved your story. I think that it's really, it's just empowering, and it's also just sort of challenging, right? Like you said, I mean, coming from Canada and feeling like maybe this is something that we don't necessarily do. We don't have a ton of great beaches here where you can rock a thong, unfortunately.
No.
At least not in my neck of the woods.
Well, you know what, Chelsea, it was also the fact that, I had been in that mom energy for a
Mm-hmm.
really long time, in like you said, um, how you're always caring for everybody else.
Yeah.
And when do you take the time to step out and care for yourself for longer than like an hour while you go to the gym, right? And just
Yeah.
rediscover who you are. And so in doing that and spending that time in Florida, like I just started discovering who I was again. And that beach story was like, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm free to be me. I can do this now.
I love it. It's such an amazing feeling when the things finally sort of click into place in that way too, and you can just, really express yourself and express yourself in a new dimension as well,
Mhm.
which is,
Exactly.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's a big part of the story that I wanted to share as well, kind of my own personal journey of this. For me, a lot of it was sort of, pushing myself a little bit more. I know that one of the areas where Leah's story and my story differ is, as I was younger, kind of in my early years, I really struggled with a lot of shyness and body conscious issues and all sorts of things. And I had some things I actually shared in one of the previous episodes that I used to dance when I was 6. I was in ballet, and I was actually body shamed by my dance instructor in front of
Oh.
the entire dance class. So I actually just quit dancing right after that. So that was one thing. And then just throughout, my kind of early years, just sort of feeling shy and not really coming into myself. I mean, to actually be doing what I'm doing now, to be speaking live on Facebook would have been unthinkable, right? So there's been a lot, in terms of just getting comfortable with who I am, to speak, to express myself. But the important part of my journey into feeling sexy again after being a mom, and after, just having, all of that time again, and time and energy where I was, really putting into other members of my family, really just not feeling happy, and also forgetting that that's such an important aspect of being a human, is to actually have pleasure and joy in your life. That was actually sort of devoid in my life for quite a few years. And it took me really realizing that I needed to claim that again for myself. So I ended up going through a separation. And of course, that brought along with it all sorts of other, things to adjust to and stress. So, it took some time, but there became a moment in my life where it was like this waking up stage of my life where I finally realized I needed to, or I wanted to really start to explore these areas of my life, especially confidence being one that was really limited. And then at the same time, I had my daughter in dance, and she wanted to quit. And I sort of had this epiphany that, maybe I should start dancing again. This is something that I wanted to do. And I didn't want to just start dancing. I wanted to actually perform. And so it was one of those things that, even though I was terrified at the thought of it, I had this desire. It was like this really unfulfilled desire in my life, where I really wanted to put myself in a position where I was actually, learning choreography on stage with the costumes and the hair and makeup, the stuff I used to love when I was a little girl, and the stuff I used to also love my daughter going through as well. So, but for me, I felt like I needed it to also be empowering, on a deeper level. Hi, Jillian, how are you? So I ended up I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know that it existed. So I was doing some research, and I found this amazing dance troupe here in the city, where they take, even if you're not a professional dancer, they take you, they train you over 10 weeks, and it culminates in this performance. I'm actually doing it again
Nice.
right now, which I'm so excited. I'll share that later. But this was a good maybe 5 or 6 years ago when I started exploring this. And so the thought of it terrified me, but I knew it was something that was going to be hugely empowering, and just something that would be really, really exciting for me. And this particular dance troupe, it was the genre of dance was called heels dance. And you're dressed very, sexy. You've got your bodysuit and your fishnets and your heels. You've got your big hair. Like, it was something that I just really wanted to be able to do for myself. Oh, we got a comment from Lamine. I do not speak French very well. I don't know, maybe I can translate while
Yes.
you're talking. Yeah.
I speak French.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Irma thank you so much, Irma. Okay. So anyways, it was something that I just kind of decided to dive into head first, and I did it. And I remember that feeling that first time we did the performance. It was amazing. It was actually a Beyonce tribute. And we just had a blast. We had such a great time. And the high that I got from it afterwards, it was like, as soon as we got off the stage, I was like, when can I do this again? I couldn't wait. So anyways, that was, I think, a huge turning point for me in my journey in terms of confidence and self-love, and just, getting through some body image issues and everything like that. So there's so many layers of it for me. But I think the big one was just, I felt like even just to be able to feel comfortable in my body and to dance again was just such a gift to be able to have that back. So that's really, my story. I actually have since then had another baby, and I'm now back dancing again. She's 1.5. And I think that Lamine is from Senegal. Hi, Lamine. I can understand the French, but I can't speak French very well. So, anyways, where was
So
I?
that this is a great story of like personal empowerment, Chelsea.
Oh, thank you.
Just be Yeah, just because, like so you're going back into like to discover your passion.
Mm-hmm.
You're dressed like really beautifully and provocatively. Um, you're performing. There's just so many layers to all of this, and so
Mm-hmm.
and you're exposing yourself right on the
Mm-hmm.
stage in front of other people, and doing your craft really. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's super empowering as a woman that is like redefining and rediscovering her sense of self.
Yes, yes, it was
Mm-hmm.
incredibly powerful. And yeah, defining. I felt like things just completely shifted after that, like nothing was ever
Mm-hmm.
or will ever be the same again. And I think that yeah, to have a moment like that, it's something that, of course I like to encourage my clients and the people that I work with to really take those risks. And I think I actually was writing about that this week is I think that, if you can find that perfect mix of the thing that you really desire in your life and the thing that also kind of scares you a little, that's when you feel the most alive. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
that's really what a lot of us are missing right now in our lives is we're disconnected, we're on our phones, we're kind of going through the motions, and we're not feeling that lit up aliveness that I think is so essential to feeling joy
Mm-hmm.
in your life. So mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I also want to touch on, like a couple of things that we do in our work. So, you do on your end and I do on my end. But I know that in your work, when you bring your client through the odyssey that you bring them through, right? The journey that you bring them through, um, you do include a photo shoot and stylist and makeup and all that stuff, right?
Yes.
And the same thing for me, where I will ask my clients to go out and do that, have that so that their portfolio, their pictures are ready for when they show up to the world as entrepreneurs. And there's something really empowering in a photo shoot. There's also a lot of fear that comes up before the
Mm-hmm.
shoot if it's somebody that isn't used to doing that, and it's that feeling of like I often is like I'm not good enough. The pictures are going to come out all off. Who am I to be doing this anyway? There's just so much that comes out of it, and I find that at the very end of each of these shoots, um, like women are so empowered afterwards, and like, when can I do this again? It
Yeah.
becomes like an addiction pretty much, or it's like this like rush of adrenaline where you're like, you know what, I need to feel this way again. Like I want to feel fully alive once again.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and I think in the actually like in the moment during the photo shoot, sometimes it can be a little bit scary because you almost have to like drop your masks, right? Like you really have to
Mm-hmm.
just, you know, connect and be who you are. And I think that it's again a really empowering experience, and it can just be a really beautifully healing experience, especially for someone that's gone through a transformation process to see how far they've come, and then they have this beautiful, sexy visual representation of who they are, and they know, this is me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me, I mean, I recently did a photo shoot in the summer, and there I have my moments. Yes, absolutely, shine your light, and I love that. I have my moments still, like where I'm not feeling so great, and I go and I look at these photos and I'm like, I know that I
Yeah.
still, like, I've got this is within me, and that also really helps get me through the moments that maybe are, we all kind of lose our footing every now and then, but
Mm-hmm.
this kind of thing can really help keep you going. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what kind of tips can you give our audience, on how to step into more of, who you truly are and step into more of your femininity? What
Mm-hmm.
kind of tips can you give them?
Well, I think the very first and most important step is to really, slow down and to really look within and try to get a really, really deep understanding of what your needs are because I think that so often as women, we put our needs last,
Slow
or we
down and to
forget.
really look
I'm
within.
getting an echo now.
Yeah.
You hear that echo?
I'm
I
good.
think
I'm
it's
good.
there. Okay. So, just really addressing our own individual needs, and that might not necessarily at first be to feel sexy. Our first individual core needs could just be to feel like we have a little bit of time to ourselves, that we have a little bit of time of rest, or we may need to do some pampering or some nurturing, something, anything that can just help us feel really connected to who we are at the core. And I think that the more that you do that, the more that you really get connected to, who you are and what your own needs are, the more you'll start to really gravitate to certain things. And what
Yeah.
looks sexy for me might be different for the next person. I mean, some women might feel really empowered by doing, something like rock climbing, or you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
something they can really just be in their body and feel strong and powerful. For me, it's dance. For me, it's getting my hair and makeup done. That's something that I love. And, but it looks different for everyone. So I think it's also important to, not necessarily look around and see what everybody else is doing, although I think that our stories are inspiring, I hope. But it's really just looking within and giving yourself that gift of time and really, just understanding of what it is that you need to do. How about you?
Yeah. I love that. I love that, just taking the time to look within and looking after yourself,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
prioritizing it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tamara,
Yeah. Yeah.
thanks.
Because we can always be like, last on the list.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. I
And
just wanted to
yeah.
say Tamara commented, Tamara mentioned that she does boxing. That's her way of feeling really
Awesome.
empowered. Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's so individual, and I think that's such an amazing one. That's one that, honestly, I would be intimidated to do, but I think that it's so powerful. Anytime I see a woman that's, really just like
Mm-hmm.
talented at that, I think it's powerful. So thank you for saying that, Tamara.
Yeah. So when after I did the whole bikini thing and felt really good about that, um, I got involved and I had always wanted to do something that was, well, I've always done, exercise and body work and that kind of stuff. But when it came to like understanding more of what I wanted, like when it comes to a tip for you guys, really would be, something that you've always been thinking of doing in the
Yeah.
past. So, like even when you were younger, right? Like, have you always wanted to ski? Well, like go out and ski, just take one lesson, or even you don't even have to take a lesson, just go to the ski hill and watch people ski, right? So you could
Mhm.
start really, really small, but exactly taking the time out of your schedule to be with yourself. Um, and I remember thinking, like, what have I been wanting to do for a really long time now
Mhm.
that I haven't prioritized at all, like since I've been a mom, right? And that was Bikram yoga. And,
Mhm.
I was like, I'm not going to go to that until I'm strong and fit because everyone there is like in, you know, like very small yoga clothes. And it's really hot and everyone's very sweaty. And plus, like, you're right in front of a mirror. So it's like you're a dancer, but like in front of a mirror doing yoga and seeing like you like your full body. And so that was really confrontational for me. So I never went. And the day that I decided to go, I think it was like the coldest day of the year here in
Mhm.
Montreal. It's like minus 90 or something like that. And I thought, you know what? Today is the day. I'm just going to do it and I'm going to go. And I think that a lot of times you just need to do it. Like, don't overthink things. Your ego will take over every single time and it will win. And that's the purpose, right, of the ego. And so your mind like will just be like, okay, well, I don't need to do the thing that I said I was going to do because that's not important right now. This is more important. And so if you could just stop yourself for a minute and not listen to that and just be like, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to do pole dancing, or I'm going to go and do whatever I said I was going to do, you'll see how empowering that is for yourself.
Mhm.
to just like to stop the monkey mind and, you know, tap within, stop the monkey mind, just do whatever it is that you said that you're going to do, that you've been longing to do for yourself, because your body knows what it wants.
Well, yeah, and I think that brings up a good point. I think sometimes we can be afraid of what other people might think, you
Mm-hmm.
know, can
Yes.
really, because I know that was a fear of mine, you know, when I started dancing. It's like, you know, what will people think of me if I do this as a mom, right? But I realized kind of my next thought was I didn't really care, you know, and I think that was kind of liberating for me. Even though, you know, the thought came up, I knew that I wanted to do this for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, you know, you can kind of start to identify where, like you said, the monkey mind, where, you know, it's sort of like the thing that's trying to hold us back or keep us maybe what might appear to be safe, but also keep us small, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think that, you know, that's kind of what happens when you get to the point where you do decide you want to take a risk in your life, and you can challenge that, and then that in and of itself is so empowering to just know that you did it, which is really,
Yeah.
really a great place to be.
And again, you know, like, why is this all important? Like, why should we even care about this? Well, I think that in doing or in taking risks, in being more risque, you know, like that just sets off so many other things in all of in every single area of our life, right? So, for example, I watched yesterday your very first Facebook Live, Chelsea,
Oh yeah, I shared
and
it the other day. Yeah,
yeah,
it was a
right.
year
Like
ago.
that was awesome to watch, because you've come so far, like since your very, very first Facebook Live. And you've just grown so much, like you've evolved. And the same thing with me. Like I had to do all kinds of EFT tapping for a whole year in order to get on to Facebook Live. You know what? Like, who cares in the end what people think of you? And but you need to take that first step. And if you can't do something in your business or in your life, well then try to do something for yourself first, and
Mm-hmm.
then see how that pans out on other levels as
Yeah,
well, like, you know, how that removes blocks in ways that you never even thought were possible.
absolutely. I really like Anna's comment, just how important it is to be teaching that to our children as well, and just showing them, you know, and giving them that belief, that important belief that really, you know, we can do anything. You know, there's so many
Mm-hmm.
incredible possibilities, and where I think that, you know, I know for myself, I felt like I learned a little bit more, you know, limitations growing up, right? And I think that
Yeah,
to be able to flip that and to allow our children to believe that they are unlimited and what they're capable of. I think that that's an incredible lesson to be able to share and to be able to teach. Thank you, Anna.
absolutely. So, let's talk a little bit about the work that we do and how somebody can get in touch with us if they are struggling with this particular area, or with the area of the work that we do as well. Do you want to go ahead,
Yeah.
Chelsea?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess, yeah, I didn't really introduce myself at the beginning, but for anyone that's watching that doesn't know me, I'm Chelsea Frederick. I am a naturopath, a transformational healer, and a feminine wealth advocate. And I love working with clients, with women especially, who have been through a major trauma or transition in their life. And they're really at the stage where they're wanting to rebuild their lives, and they're wanting to rebuild their confidence, and they're wanting to really start to take more risks, but do the important healing work that comes along with it. So within the practice that I do, we focus a lot, of course, on the physical, on, you know, overall physical well-being, but then we're also incorporating the really important aspects of healing at the soul level, at the spiritual level, and really ensuring that you know, any potential past traumas, you know, potentially from childhood or from this major transition that they've been through, are really deeply healed, so that they can really step into who they are. They can really claim who they are and go towards their desires, the life they desire, and really feel so empowered, but also so beautifully supported at the same time. So I work online with my clients. I also do work in person. I'm in Calgary for anyone that's in that area. And of course, if I can, within the, you know, if the person is in the Calgary area, I'd love to be able to, as Leah mentioned, incorporate the photo shoot as well. I have a fabulous team that I work with, a stylist, a photographer, and someone who also does hair and makeup. And so that becomes sort of something that we do at the culmination of the coaching practice. So if anyone that's watching this is resonating with that and is interested, we are going to be posting our links below of how to get in touch with us if you'd like to book, just a chat to find out a little bit more about how this may be helping you as well if you've been through, a major change or trauma. So how about you, Leah? Thank you.